Hello, precious humans. I am Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary, revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your celestial wisdom from, we'll say today, April 18th, all the way through the 27th. We have a few things happening, like Mars in Leo, the sun is moving into Taurus. We've got a Saturn-Venus conjunction, which in Pisces, that's been happening for most of the month now that Venus is direct. And of course, Mercury's direct. Oof, I know you guys are feeling it, right? And hopefully you have weathered the storm and are coming out the other side. I will say, though, that, things are intense. It's just a hard time for all of us. And so it's important that we lean in, lift each other up, and encourage community and connection. I had a post the other day on my social media. It's something that I was reminded of, and I thought it was important to share, is that, it's our flaws that connect us as human beings, that make us be able to have intimacy and be vulnerable and share with each other. And so I think it's really important that we continue to come back to, we're perfectly imperfect, and we're not going to do something right all the time, but it's in those spaces that we can lean in. If someone's challenged or they made a mistake or whatever, it's not a time to punish and push away. It's a time to really lean in and lift up. And because, all of us are going to have a moment, make a mistake, that sort of thing. So I just want to remind us of that as we continue to navigate the energies that are happening in ourselves and in our families and in our communities. And we've got, I mentioned Mars in Leo. So think about this. Leo is a fire sign, and with Mars, our planet of passion and motivation, our planet that wants to get things done and get some movement in this fiery energy. Mars likes being in the fire signs, because of that energy of Mars, of passion and the god of war, if you will. And Leo loves to be in that heart space. It wants to have this powerful energy, to be a little bombastic and gregarious and all of that. And so with Mars ablaze in the heart of Leo, then there's a powerful call to action. That's what really it is. And it's one that says, let's lead with our heart, lead with love, not our ego, and making sure that we place our higher self, our higher intention in the center of whatever is up for us. It's a time to channel that fiery energy into acts of courage, fueled by compassion. So let your passion ignite others, not with dominance, but with warmth, generosity, with that heart space. Embrace the inner strength. Let it be a beacon. This is a time to be reminded that we can illuminate the path for ourselves and others when we come from that heart space. And when you've got this dance of Mars and Leo, then there could be some really good leadership that emerges. Remember that our words are our children, and we're leading our children. We're leading with our words. We're leading with our actions. And that what this next generation of human beings need is leadership. And so we can use this time of Mars in Leo to let us be vulnerable, dare to be vulnerable, as I mentioned, lift each other's up. And, rather than standing against something, stand for something where we can stand in our power, and we can let that heart light really shine and guide our actions. Then we also have the sun moving into Taurus in a couple of days from when I'm recording this video. And when the sun moves through Taurus, it invites us to ground, to really be, when we take these passions and we lead with our heart, then we can ground it into reality and into a place that says, I want to enjoy the simple pleasures. I want to find joy in these tangible things. I want to be fully present in my body, present in my senses. How do I capitalize on my senses so that I can be of benefit? And this is also a time where, with the sun in Taurus, we're more steadfast and encouraged to embrace our values and build lasting foundations. And also to remind ourselves of the value we have, really working on our self-worth and saying, you know what, I matter. I decided to incarnate in this body, in this life, and I have certain things that I do really well and that I can be of benefit and offer that gift to others. And so we also are being encouraged with the sun in Taurus to really come back to the present moment and to connect with others in a place that says, I'm here. I'm your ride or die person. I'm not going to leave just because things are getting hard. And we can channel that energy of Mars and Leo with this sun in Taurus to be able to give that kind of reassurance to others. Because one of the things I have found is such a common theme for us as human beings is that we need to feel secure. When we feel secure, we feel we have some command over the choices and decisions that we make. And very often with that security and that comfort, then we're able to offer and make decisions and choices that may be a little risk, or it may be a little vulnerable, that we wouldn't normally make because we feel safe. Saturn canoodling, as I like to say, conjunct with Venus in Pisces is also, like I say, happening. There's an exact point that's going to be happening this coming week. The energy can be a little intense when we've got planets that are making these kinds of connections. The one thing I didn't mention earlier with Mars in Leo is that it's going to create a square to Pluto and to the Sun this next week. So that also can create tension points or growth points where some things may rise to the surface that within our relationships, within our own internal psyche, that says, where have I lost my stability? Where do I feel helpless? Where do I feel like my ego took over and now I'm having to deal with, I'm being forced to deal with a situation or with something that shows up that maybe I'm a little afraid of, or I'm not sure how I'm going to create that stability that I'm looking for. However, it's an invitation to come back to our heart space and say, okay, when my heart is stable because I'm grounded and I'm safe within myself, it can open and it can meet the situation, the person, where they're at, and in a much deeper and more kind and beautiful way. So now we have extra support also during this time with Saturn conjunct Venus in Pisces. So we're invited into this sacred marriage of devotion and divine love. And this is not a fleeting romance or surface level charm that's happening. This is a love that's weathered the storms, waited patiently, and is ready to be shaped into something real. And so this brings a powerful reckoning within our relationships, one that's rooted in vulnerability and truth. And so this transit is asking us to look at love through that spiritual and emotional, but yet practical lens with Saturn here, to be able to say, are my relationships weathering the tests, the trials, the things that are we just running away just because it gets hard, or do we go deeper? Venus longs for deep connection and soul level union with Saturn and Venus in the sign of Pisces. Saturn insists on boundaries, integrity, commitment. These are the things that we're going to be either challenged with if we don't have them, be able to say, can my relationships support that? Do I have the fortitude? Do I have the stability, the integrity to be able to say, just because this is hard doesn't mean I'm going to run from it. It means I am going to stand next to you and we're going to do this together. This is teamwork at its best, partnership at its best. This is about maturity in our relationships, letting go of illusions, letting go of these fantasy-driven bonds, and being able to say, well, you know, I've loved you. I have this feeling of love. No, love is a choice. It's much more than that. This is something that has stability and durability. There may be times this next week and moving into the end of the month that you may feel a need to define where you stand with somebody. There may be some conversations that say, are we good? Are we on the same page? Are we still aligned? And if it's not, then maybe it's time to start looking at releasing the idea or releasing the status even of that current relationship because it no longer serves either one of your growths. Now, I'm not saying, because I was saying earlier about relationships being committed and that just because it's hard means you run, all of that. But What I will say is that on a soul level, if the contract is complete, you'll know. And that's the kind of conversation that you're going to have. If you're willing to show up with presence and compassion, then the alignment of Saturn and Venus and Pisces can deepen trust. It can heal long held wounds. It can anchor love into something sacred, soulful. So don't be afraid to have those courageous conversations when you're leading from the heart with Mars and Leo, and you're finding that the relationships that you want to be in and that you want to nurture are the ones that have vulnerability and truth and practicality, and yet still emotional, spiritual connection. All right, you guys, I hope this helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Come find me at when2listen, jamiedawn.com. I look forward to connecting with you. Have a great week.